Well, a very, very happy Tuesday, and welcome to another episode of the TNC Sports Talk. My name is Justin, and today is September 30th of
Bluetooth disconnected.
2025. It is the last day of
Bluetooth
September,
connected.
but the first day of the postseason. As Major League Baseball has wrapped up their regular season play this past weekend. But don't worry, we have about another month full of excitement as postseason is here. 4 games, 3 days. The winners will advance to the American League and National League divisional series. It's a best out of five. And some good news coming out of Cincinnati is that those Cincinnati Reds are in the wild card. They earned a third and final
Bluetooth
spot of
disconnected.
the wild card over the
Bluetooth
weekend
connected.
as they took the series against the Milwaukee Brewers. They did lose on Sunday, so Friday came around. The anticipations were high. We needed everything to fail for New York and the Mets, and everything to go right for Milwaukee, for Cincinnati and the Reds. And if you just know Reds history, you understand that we do not perform well against our division, especially a dominant team, a team who won the National League Central and gets the next few days off in Milwaukee Brewers.
Bluetooth
Um,
disconnected.
Nonetheless,
Bluetooth
we
connected.
were one game out of the wild card. It came down to the last final games, and I was rest assured that, and I was one of them who strongly felt that the Reds were just going to blow it. They weren't going to win the series. Um, the Mets were going to easily take the series. And, come Friday, the Mets lost. The Reds won. They're back tied here. And, um, now all we need is either the Reds to win two, Mets lose two, or both of them
Bluetooth
go 1-1.
Bluetooth
And,
connected.
the Mets and the Reds won game two, came down to 162 on Sunday. And I don't get the Reds game. And that game kind of finished early. We lost, but I was tuning into the Mets game. And, Marlin fans are happy when they beat their division rivals in the New York Mets. And I think, we're in order to give them a round of an applause for their accomplishment. Um, we should be
Bluetooth
sending them
disconnected.
flowers,
Bluetooth
because if it
connected.
wasn't them handling their own and stopping the Mets from going to the postseason, uh, we won't be talking Reds baseball here this week when it comes down to the season's not done with. You know, uh, look, the Mets had a great start. I don't know what happened. I don't know what caused it, but they turned a complete 180, and they uh, should have probably walked away with this division. And instead, they find them going back. And I think it just goes to show that
Bluetooth
money isn't
disconnected.
everything. You
Bluetooth
could have the
connected.
deepest pockets. You could have spend $40 million on a roster that does not guarantee you a World Series win. It doesn't guarantee you a division championship, and it most certainly does not guarantee you a wild card spot in the postseason. So, I do feel bad if you are Mets fans, but hey, you got the Yankees and the Bronx to be glad that they're in the postseason. So, where we will talk about some Reds baseball.
Bluetooth
About the
disconnected.
time of this recording, we're
Bluetooth
about under
connected.
an hour away from the first set of games beginning. It's a long day here for the day today, tomorrow, in the wild card series. As games start at 1 o'clock, it doesn't finish off until probably what, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. Out there on the West Coast, and the Reds are the final game. They will be taking on the Dodgers. So we will talk about that. But just a round of applause. I give myself to a season looking ahead, and you know we got to have some hope, because obviously those Bengals last night, I don't know. I
Bluetooth
don't know if I should be
disconnected.
mad. You know,
Bluetooth
I
connected.
don't know. And I'm disgusted. I'm humiliated. I'm embarrassed as a Bengals fan. You know, I don't want to support these Bengals if I had a chance to. And that's why we have baseball in the postseason. I'd rather be a Steelers fan right now or even a Browns fan right now than being a Bengals fan if they can't get their shit together. So we will definitely cover the Cincinnati Bengals. But before we do any of that, let's jump into what's going on our channel. This week is a very busy week, as you guys may be aware of, in our gaming
Bluetooth disconnect.
content. We have
Bluetooth
the Go
connected.
Home show to of King and Queen of the Ring PLE. On Raw last night, we saw the semifinals as John Cena beat CM Punk and Becky Lynch beat Eve Torres, and they will be facing the winners of the semifinal round for SmackDown this Friday night. So stay tuned for that. There's a couple different matches on that match card. For example, a Hell in a Cell match between Finn Balor and Damian Priest. We have Braun Breaker versus Cody Rhodes for the
Bluetooth
WWE
disconnected.
Championship.
Bluetooth connected.
And I think we have the Usos defending their World Tag Team Championships on Sunday as well. So that's our Sunday PLE. In our baseball, we started the postseason. That gets underway later on tonight. As you see, games are already played. I have the final games in progress, ready to be uploaded. They should be uploaded today for tomorrow and possibly even, and then I already have the Wildcard series already played. And then I'm about to begin
Bluetooth disconnected.
the divisional
Bluetooth connected.
series here, hopefully later on today. It's a lot of content. It could get very confusing, and it's a lot of importing, copying, uploading, all that stuff. So bear with me. I will be getting the content out. It's only Tuesday, trying to stay ahead of the game. And so we'll just see how that goes. I also got to get football going. So in our wild card matchups tonight, you guys will see on our MLB The Show franchise series, the times have been adjusted. They only play night games in the wild card series from what I'm aware of, and I believe throughout
Bluetooth
the course of the
disconnected.
postseason. So there's no
Bluetooth
daytime
connected.
games. With that being said, what we're going to do is we're going to push back some of those times a little bit later, especially in the divisional series. So the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Atlanta Braves begin tonight game one, as well as the Seattle Mariners and the Kansas City Royals. So there is a different format for the playoffs in MLB The Show franchise series. With that being said, so we have two games tonight. The first game, Arizona and Atlanta, kicks off at 5 p.m. The second game will be at 8 o'clock.
Bluetooth connected.
On tomorrow, we have 4 games. I have 2 games beginning at 5. I have the Diamondbacks and Braves, and then I have the Astros hosting to the Guardians. On the 8 o'clock game, I have the Mariners and Royals, and then the Cubs and Milwaukee. And then the same time slots will move over to Thursday. If there's a necessary game 3, it will be at 5 for the Diamondbacks and Braves, 5 for game 2 of the Astros and Guardians, 8 p.m. if necessary for the Mariners and Royals, and game 2 for the Cubs and Brewers. And for Friday, we would have game if necessary, a 5 and 8 o'clock game. So we have content already played, so we don't have to worry about that. I got so much stuff going on, I don't even know what's what. So I will break it down as I go. And then obviously we have, and then we'll start the NLDS and ALDS here on Saturday, I believe. I don't know what the set of games are.
Bluetooth disconnected.
So
Bluetooth connected.
Stay tuned. I've been trying to publish day by day brackets, standings, where we're at overall for baseball, but the postseason is in full swing. On our NFL Madden series, I just wrapped up week number 4 of the NFL. I got a handful of games in week number 5. I'm going to pull up my phone because I don't have it in front of me here. But week 5, Thursday Night Football, we will see the 49ers and the Rams. We have that 9:30 in London between the Vikings
Bluetooth
and
disconnected.
Browns. A
Bluetooth
4:25 evening game between the Bengals and the Lions. A Sunday night game between the Buffalo Bills and the Patriots. And then we have Monday night game with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Jacksonville Jaguars. So week 5 is already ready to be played. I actually just got done with one of the games. We'll be working on the other games here later this week. Hopefully get all that content uploaded in time for you guys. So I appreciate your guys' patience and support to our channel and our process. All right. I want to just talk
Bluetooth
about
disconnected.
some
Bluetooth connected.
I want to break down before our postseason gets underway. Like I said, by the time this recording goes live, we've already started the postseason. But during this this recording, we're about an hour away for the first set of games. Now, the first set of games coming up here will begin at 1 o'clock, where the Detroit Tigers take on the Cleveland Guardians at Progressive Field in Game 1. And the wild card is simple. It's a best out of 3. All right, one location. You play 3 games. You play a 3-game series. If you win 2 out of 3, you're advancing to the next stage. That's how easy it is.
Bluetooth disconnected. Bluetooth
It
connected.
is the 1 o'clock game is going to be aired on ESPN. We have the second game aired on ABC. That's at 3:08. That's the Padres versus the Cubs. The Red Sox and the Yankees at 6:08 on ESPN. And at the final game, 9:08, ESPN, Cincinnati Reds, Los Angeles Dodgers. That is tonight's match card. I want to get a little bit more into detail, but before we actually break down, as a matter of fact, let's go ahead and break down each game of the series, pitching expectations, and what we're expected to
Bluetooth
see.
disconnected.
So
Bluetooth
tonight
connected.
or today, the Tigers Guardians, 1 p.m. ESPN, the number 6 versus number 3. We have left-handed pitcher Tariq Skubal on the mound for the Tigers. He is 13-6 with a 2.21 ERA. He will be going up against right-hander Gavin Williams for the Guardians. He's 12-5 with a 3.06 ERA. At 3 o'clock on ABC, the number 5 versus number 4 in the National League wildcard, right-handed pitcher Nick Pivetta for the Padres comes in with a 13-5 record and a 2.87 ERA. For the Cubs,
Bluetooth
left-hander
disconnected.
Matthew Boyd,
Bluetooth connected.
14-8 regular season record with a 3.21 ERA. Later on this evening, we have a classic at 6:08 on ESPN. We will be treated to the Boston Red Sox taking on the Yankees. Boston will be sending out left-handed pitcher Garrett Crutchett. He's 18-5, 2.59 ERA. The Yankees will have left-hander Matt Fried, 19-5 on the season with a 2.86 ERA. The final game at Dodger Stadium, available on ESPN at 9:08 p.m. The Reds will
Bluetooth
have right-handed
disconnected.
pitcher Hunter Green,
Bluetooth
who
connected.
is 7-4 with a 2.76 ERA. The Dodgers will have left-handed pitcher Blake Snell with a 5-4 average, a record, and a 2.35 ERA. Those are your matchups for today, September 30th of 2025. Those 4 games will be game 1 of a 3-game series. As we advance to October 1st, tomorrow, at 1:08 on ESPN, the Tigers will have right-handed pitcher Casey Mize, if you want to say it. Comes in with a
Bluetooth
14-6
Bluetooth
record
connected.
with a 3.87 ERA. The Guardians will have right-hander Tanner Bibby, 12-11 with a 4.24 ERA. At 3:08 on ABC, the Padres will have right-handed pitcher Dylan Cease, who is 8-12 with a 4.455, ERA. As the Cubs will have left-handed pitcher Shota Ibadaji, Imanaja on the mound. Shota enters with a 9-8 regular season record with a 3.37 ERA.
Bluetooth connected.
At 6:08 on ESPN, the Red Sox will have right-handed pitcher Brian Bello, who is 11-9 with a 3.35 ERA. The Yankees will have left-handed pitcher Carlos Rodon, 18-9 with a 3.09. Tomorrow night, the final game at 9:08 on ESPN will be the Reds. Right-handed pitcher Zach Littell, who is 10-8 and a 3.81 ERA, will go up against the Dodgers right-handed pitcher Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who is 12-8 with a 2.49 ERA.
Bluetooth disconnected.
If Game 3 is
Bluetooth
necessary,
connected.
will be played on Thursday, October 2nd, 2025 at 1 p.m. On ESPN, the Tigers will take on the Guardians. Tigers right-handed pitcher Jack Flaherty, 8-15 with a 4.64 ERA. The Cleveland Guardians will have right-handed pitcher Slade Sissoni with a 7-7 record and a 4.30 ERA. At 3:08 on ABC, the Padres will have right-hander Yu Darvish, who holds a 5.5-5 record with a 5.38 ERA. While the Cubs hold a right-handed pitcher, Jameis Talion,
Bluetooth disconnected.
who is 11-7 with a 3.68 ERA. At 6:08 on ESPN, the Red Sox will have left-handed pitcher Conley Early, who is 1-2 with a 2.33. The Yankees will have right-handed pitcher Cameron Slittler, who is 4-3 with the 2.96. At 9:08 on ESPN, the final game, the Reds will have left-handed pitcher Andrew Abbott, who is 10-7 with a 2.87, while the Dodgers will have right-handed pitcher Shohei Ohtani. Now, Game 3 is only if necessary. That means both teams would have won one of the games so far in the series. And these pitchers and times are all subject to change. I just want to make that apparent before anything else we say here. And I know we're in the postseason. It's October baseball. Honestly, these records and ERAs these pitchers have had does not mean anything. It's all about survival to the fittest. In series matchups comparisons, the Padres and the Cubs are neck and neck. I'm looking towards a very interesting series between these two ball clubs. The Dodgers throughout the regular season has beat the Reds 5-1 in their two times they met. The Guardians and the Tigers have met several times this year, as the Guardians have obtained victory 8-5 throughout the season. And Boston has beaten up on the Yankees 9 out of 13 games they have won. Couple interesting, notable key injuries that we will not see take place in this wild card series. For the Boston Red Sox, right-handed pitcher Ramon Anthony, who was called up back in June, he's been out since September 2nd with a strained left oblique. His batting average is .292, 48 runs, 8 home runs with 32 RBIs. Is going to be missed from Alex Cora at the top of this lineup. Starting pitcher Lucas Giolito with a 3.41 ERA, 56 walks, and 121 strikeouts will be out. As Alex Cora has mentioned in a press conference, he's dealing with an elbow, and he will go see he'll see Dr. Dugas, hopefully here in the next day or so. The Cubs will be going without starting pitcher Cade Hurton, who were expected to be probably a good key value to the Cubs bullpen this postseason. He's pitching 2.69 ERA, only giving up 33 walks and struck out 97 batters. He's dealing with a rib fracture. The Dodgers will not have catcher Will Smith. He is dealing with a hairline hand fracture since September 9th and will be out of this wild card series, if not further. His value brings in a batting average of 291, 64 runs, 17 home runs, and 61 RBIs.
Bluetooth disconnected. Bluetooth
As I
connected.
mentioned here, I like the Padres and Cubs series. I feel like this is an even series for both teams. And this is a series that could go either way. Okay. When I think about the Padres and the Cubs, these two teams have held on top of the wild card for quite some time. They were teams that were fighting for a division championship in September, but fell short. It seemed to me that the Padres were a little bit more in the conversation
Bluetooth disconnected.
because a few
Bluetooth
bad
connected.
mistakes and a few important losses found themselves early on in September in a position where they could have been on the outside looking in the wild card race. They cleaned that up, and I like this series. I can't pick out a favorite. I'm not even going to go through predictions in this series here. The next series will be the Reds and the Dodgers. We will talk a little bit more in depth about that series coming up in our Reds conversation. But the Dodgers, they won a division. They've dominated the Reds this year. They swept them when they're at Dodger Stadium back at the end of August. And, the Reds made it to the postseason thanks to the Miami Marlins, who've been eliminated. So realistically, the Reds are getting a second life here as they get to the postseason. It's been done. Teams have beaten the Dodgers and eliminated them, but the Dodgers are still one of the favorites in the National League. The American League is pretty interesting because both teams are division rivals. The Cleveland Guardians have won 8 out of 13 meetings sent over the Tigers throughout the course of this season. The Guardians have had an impressive September run. Talk about those teams that have those late runs that make it to the postseason. This has captivated them, the American League Central, which gives them home field advantage in the wild card. They recently had a few series where they dominated the Tigers, both home and away. They look to advance to the ALDS, while the Tigers, on the other hand, look just to kind of regroup from their downhill spiral. The question and the key of this game here, which will be beginning in about 30 minutes or so, is Detroit capable of turning things around, or has they've gone off a little too far and fallen short? The Red Sox and the Yankees have always been an interesting series. It's always been a fun rival to watch, especially out on the East Coast. And nothing changes in this one. If you put besides the 9-4 record that Boston has advantage of over the Yankees throughout the season, the Boston's been able to beat New York, both home and away.
Bluetooth disconnected.
Yes, they're playing at the Bronx.
Bluetooth connected.
Yes, the atmosphere is different in the postseason in New York. I get that. And on paper, New York looks like a unbeatable team. But just like we saw in the Mets, you could put up as much money as you can. That doesn't guarantee you a championship, and it doesn't guarantee you a win. Although Boston has attempted to sell some key values, players in their organization this season, they have given themselves a second life as they are now a serious team.
Bluetooth disconnected.
This is not the same rival that we've seen 5 years ago. This is not the same rival we've seen 10 years ago. But this rival will be creating its own coming up here in the next 3 days. I like all 4 matchups. And for the first time in years, the investment of watching the postseason is within me. All right. Before we get to any other sports talk about the Reds or even the Bengals, don't even want to talk about the Bengals. Let's go ahead and give you some college football
Bluetooth
updates in our
disconnected.
local Cincinnati area.
Disconnected.
Week 5 recap here. Kentucky was over in South Carolina, where South Carolina beat Kentucky 35-13 back on Saturday. South Carolina's defense returned 2 turnovers in the second quarter when Kentucky was leading 10-7. They returned them for touchdowns in a span of 3 plays. In the first play, quarterback Cutter Boyle was sacked by Dylan Stewart. Defensive lineman Julius Gear returned it for a 40-yard touchdown. 2 plays later, Cutter threw it, intercepted by Kendrick Law, was reflected by Kendrick Law, was caught by Gerald Kilgore, who returned it for a 45-yard touchdown. Kentucky's quarterback Cutter Boyle went 10 for 19, 124 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, was sacked 6 times for 32 yards. Their running game, Seth McGroran, 17 carries, 112 yards with a touchdown. His longest was 20 yards. Really Rodriguez, 3 targets for 2 receptions, 66 yards. Longest was 53 yards. Kentucky will take on and head out to number 5 Georgia this week on Saturday. They went to that game with a 2-2 record. The Bearcats had a very interesting game. Got a chance to catch bits and pieces towards the back end of that one. They beat up the Kansas City. They beat up Kansas City. I don't even know the name. 37-34, thanks to a 75-yard in a minute and 12 seconds for a Tawee Walker rushing 2-yard touchdown in a game-winning drive. I think that was impressive. Everything just worked their way, clock management, and they were able to shut out the game. Brandon Sorsby went 29 for 43, 388 yards with 2 touchdowns. Evan Pryor, 6 carries with 9 yards. Tyree Walker, 18 carries, 73 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Cyrus Allen, 14 attempts for 11 receptions, 128 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Cincinnati will head back home this Saturday to take on Iowa State. Those Buckeyes beat up on the Washington Huskies on Saturday, beating them 24-6.
Bluetooth connected.
Buckeyes limited Huskies to 234 yards in front of 72,845 fans, the largest crowd since September 28, 2010, in a game Washington faced against Nebraska. Washington had their also had a 22 consecutive game home streak come to an end. Julian Salen went 22 for 28 with 208 yards, 2 touchdowns. Bo Jackson carried 17 times for 80 yards, and Jeremiah Smith had 8 receptions for 81 yards and a touchdown. They will be actually headed home to take on Minnesota this Saturday. I was looking at the AP rankings for NCAA football. Ohio State sits at number 1, followed by Oregon and then Miami. Oregon jumped up 4 spots from last week. Ole Miss jumps up 9 spots to get the number 4 spot. Oklahoma's number 5, Texas A&M up at number 6. Penn State went down a couple spots at number 7. Indiana's climbed up as well as Texas, and Alabama's made a 7.7
Bluetooth disconnected.
span jump to place number 10. They come in 3-1. Georgia, on the other hand, dropped 7 slots at number 12. LSU dropped 9 slots at number 13. Florida State dropped 10 slots to place number 18, while Arizona State has entered in the top 25 at number 25. That is your college football conversations here. You know, I just going to keep the momentum going, however you want to look at it.
Bluetooth disconnected.
because I wanted to
Bluetooth
continue the positive
connected.
conversations, and I wanted to give this moment to break down the Cincinnati Reds 2025 season by overall numbers. Cincinnati Reds finished off 83-79. Here's your standings for the National League overall. Milwaukee Brewers finished off 97-65, followed by and won the division. The Chicago Cubs finished off 92-70. They earned a 5th seed spot in the wild card, or a 4th seed spot, excuse me. The Reds have finished off 83-79, earning themselves the 7th and final wild
Bluetooth disconnected.
6th and final
Bluetooth
wild card
connected.
spot. The St. Louis Cardinals finished off 4th with a 78-84 record, while the Pirates finished off 71-91 on the year. At home, the Reds finished off 45-36. On the road, they finished off 38-43. They have scored in a total of 716 runs, while they all have also allowed 618 runs for their opponents. In the East, they finished with a 14-18 record. Central, they finished with a 26-26. And out there in the
Bluetooth
West,
disconnected.
they finished with a
Bluetooth
17-13 record overall. In April, the Reds finished with a 16-14 record. In May, they finished with a 13-15 record. In June, they finished with a 15-11 record. July, they finished with a 13-12 record. And in August, they finished with a 12-16 record. And in September, they finished with a 14-11. Against the Cubs, they finished 8-5. Milwaukee, they were 5-8.
Bluetooth
Pittsburgh,
disconnected.
they were 7-6.
Disconnected.
And St. Louis, they were 6-7. So, with that being said, just kind of a reflection back on the 2025 season. Now, I've mentioned, I think there was some good things and bad things that I could say we need to improve on if we just don't look at the postseason for right now. Obviously, there are moments that you look at throughout the course of a year that you could reflect on and said, hey, I'm proud of this team and what they were accomplished at the time.
Bluetooth disconnected.
They were down by 6
Bluetooth connected.
in the wild card at the beginning of September. That's 2 series, if not more, that they've had to be better than all the other contenders for the National League wild card. And they slipped in. As much as we want to thank the Miami Marlins for doing their job, the Reds had to contribute to that. What did that mean? Well, they had to play well against their division. I know they finished off 26-26. That's 500 baseball against their division. To me, that's still not good enough.
Bluetooth disconnected.
Because
Bluetooth
Chicago
connected.
and Milwaukee are still comfortably ahead by 9 games, 15 games. To be honest, I'm a bit impressed to see them play better against the West Coast teams, considering that the West Coast, especially flying out west, gives us the most issues. So, I think when you look back on this season and you see this chemistry building with our pitching staff and our pitching
Bluetooth
rotation,
disconnected.
when you see Terry
Bluetooth
Francona strategize, and we finally have this realistic manager that understands the concept of this game and how this game is played, and to use all the pieces that you have. Yeah, sure, we're going to question some outings. Well, I don't know behind the scenes. I don't know what's happening that day in the dugout. And everything's a day-to-day ratio when it comes down to baseball. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So, yeah, we're going to question scenarios. We're going to question, why didn't she do this? Obviously, if we found better numbers.
Bluetooth disconnected.
At the end of the day,
Disconnected.
Terry Francona did something that I haven't seen this Reds ball club do in a little while, and that is win some games. And 83 wins, I know that's just what, 2 games above 500. I'll take that. I'll take that any day. Those are accomplishments that I sign off for, that I'm impressed, that I like to see. So, I enjoy watching the Reds. And right now when the Bengals are not playing well, it's great to see the Reds play at least another few days at least and make it to the postseason. We have something to
Bluetooth
work with.
disconnected.
We have a winning
Bluetooth
ball team.
connected.
We have a team who made it to the postseason and made it to the wild card. And we can build off of that. What do we do during the offseason? Did we add some power hitting guys? Sure. Did we re-sign some contracts? Can we? Do we, bring in some extra key pitchers? This also influences anybody in free agency on a reason why you would want to play for the Cincinnati Reds. You don't have to be washed up. You don't need to be looking for the last every ounce of you to be left. Hopefully we get someone that still is capable of producing, like we've seen
Bluetooth
here with
disconnected.
Gavin Lux
Bluetooth
and
connected.
not Gavin Lux, but we've seen in some of these players. The downside is, I don't think we have a clear image of who our power hitter guys are. I think we're still so lost in our 3, 4, 5 spots, because our home runs come from everybody. Ellie De La Cruz is supposed to be this player
Bluetooth
that we build around,
disconnected.
this team captain.
Bluetooth
This,
connected.
he produces, and I think a lot of people expect a lot more from him than what I think he needs to do. I was looking at this, and it reminds me a lot about the San Diego Padres and Fernando Tatis. The Padres was quick to re-sign Tatis, and they were trying to build Tatis or the franchise around him. That's why they had Manny Machado, Alexander Bogaerts, Jake Cronenworth, all that. And come to reality is that
Bluetooth
you build
disconnect.
better players
Bluetooth
around
connected.
him so that he doesn't have all the pressure on. I think there's a lot of pressure that gets put on Ellie De La Cruz to be this spectacular player that everyone wants him to be nearly perfect, to be batting 400, hitting 60 home runs, stealing 40, 50, 60 bases a year. And I just think that's unreasonable. I think he has room for improvement, but the more you could take off of him so he could just be himself is going to help him overall.
Bluetooth disconnected.
And I think that's
Bluetooth
that
connected.
I think that goes around everyone. Not one person can carry a team, and we saw that this year. We're seeing it as Miguel Andujar. We're seeing it as Key Brian Hayes and Spencer Steer and Tyler Stevenson. This isn't just a one-trick pony, and this isn't just one person carrying this team. Hunter Green, we'll talk about here in a moment, had a terrible outing against the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium a month ago, and he's going to get his opportunity tonight to take advantage of that. Well, let's face it, Andrew Abbott,
Bluetooth disconnected.
Chase Burns,
Bluetooth connected.
Zach Littell, Nick Lodolo, all stepped up today because healthy, you stayed healthy, you had backup, that took a load off your bullpen. And so overall, I see progress, and I hope that this is a new culture in the Reds organization, that we see this. And hey, if our starting pitchers could go 5, 6 innings every night, it takes a load off of our bullpen. I still think our bullpen needs to be worked on
Bluetooth disconnected.
tremendously.
Bluetooth connected.
Okay. But at the end of the day, let's start somewhere. Take a load off, and then we can start working on our bullpen. I think we need to, we as a collective unit offensively can put up runs at times. We have hot streaks. We have winning streaks. But we also need to be able to do it through power. And, I think we need to create and establish better offense from more guys. And I don't know if that's on the outside of our organization that we haven't found yet, or that's just another chemistry year next year.
Bluetooth disconnected.
Working together
Bluetooth
and not
connected.
bouncing, not depending on just one person to make or break this team. Otherwise, I think that we're on that good horizon of being a solid ball club. I don't want to see this club, depart from each other next season. But I guess, let's get through first things first. And that is a wild card series against the Dodgers. Like I mentioned earlier in the program, we're 1-5 against the Dodgers. Matter of fact, we saw them 6 times. We'll see Yamamoto in the series. He pitched us the very first time, we met, where the Dodgers won 5-2. Yamamoto pitched 7 innings, gave up 4 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, and 9 strikeouts. And listen, Blake Snell, Yamamoto, Shohei Ohtani, if you have to get a show, oh my goodness. They're all beatable. We know that. But the conundrum is that they're in Los Angeles. It's Dodger Stadium. The atmosphere is different, just like New York. Game 2 back in July, the Dodgers beat us 5-4, and we took that third game 2-5.
Bluetooth disconnected.
On August,
Bluetooth connected.
We got shut out in that game 1 of the 3-game series, 7-0. Hunter Green went 5 innings, 6 hits, 5 runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, 2 home runs. Game 2, we lost 6-3. In game 3, we lost 5-1. Ohtani pitched 5 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, and 9 strikeouts. It's not going to be an easy task. I don't even, and I don't want to lose skepticism. I think the Reds still have a very chance to beat these Dodgers just like anyone else. I know the odds are stacked up against them, but what does this mean? It means pitchers just go out there and pitch, put the ball in play, don't do anything spectacular, don't try to be someone you're not, and allow and be pitch selective. Draw walks, and just get ready for, anything. If we can prevail, Philadelphia is another series, but you get a couple home games in that. So, I know we don't necessarily perform well out there on the West Coast, but especially against the Dodgers. But see, regular season doesn't matter no more.
Bluetooth connected.
It's all about the postseason. And these 3 games, Hunter Green, Zach Littell, Andrew Abbott, we're putting up our best guys. You keep Nick Lodolo back there in the bullpen. And, you have someone you could bounce off of, which I believe, which is great. So even if Hunter Green goes out there and pitches 4 solid innings, who says we can't roll over that ball and have Nick Lodolo come out for 2 or 3 innings and pitch around? I'm interested to see how Terry Francona handles the Dodgers in a postseason matchup.
Bluetooth disconnected.
Everything is
Bluetooth
crucial.
Connected.
But, the Dodgers, it's a light switch, right? They could turn it on and off, and, when they turn it on, they're hot. And they can do a lot when it comes down to, postseason, doing some damage. I don't want to be embarrassed, but I think at this point, there's nothing that is embarrassing, at least not as much as the Bengals right now. So if we lose and we lose 2 games, and you know what? We at least made it. We have progress to work off of. All right. I think we have to start addressing the elephant in the room. Let's talk some NFL. Let's talk the Bengals and Broncos game last night. Embarrassing. I was humiliated. I really want to just stop what I'm doing, convert over. I'll sign the contract, whatever people give. I'll be a Steelers fan for the rest of the season. I'll be a Browns fan for the rest of the season. I don't know if I could be a Bengals fan for the rest of the year. And you know what? Cincinnati has the right to be mad. Not the players, not the coaching staff. I don't think firing Zach Taylor does anything for us. It's honestly the city of Cincinnati needs to
Bluetooth
be
disconnected.
angry
Bluetooth
at the
connected.
Bengals and their performance because they did not perform. Okay, 23-8 was the final score. They had one decent drive. First quarter of the game, they ran down the field, knocked off what 6 minutes off the clock, settled for a field goal. And I was thinking to myself, okay, I could do that. You want to play this field goal game? I'm fine with that. Just get us down the field. And we knew about what was the two biggest things we had to focus this year. Defense, and now this run game.
Bluetooth connected.
This run game. We're asking Chase Brown and all these other running backs to get us somewhere, to get us down the road. And, I don't know if it's the offensive coordinator, but the only way you're going to build confidence and establish a run game is if you run it. And, if you run the ball. And if you run the ball too late in the game, you're allowing that defense to focus in on that run game. I thought it was an interesting matchup. First, maybe fourth, maybe a little beyond that of the game.
Bluetooth disconnected. Bluetooth connected.
21-3 is not a great way to come back from the half. And 3 points is not something that we should be proud of. What I saw was no run game. I can't even blame the defense. 28 points is not bad. And let's not forget about talking about the penalties. Man, I think we had a date with the penalties this year. Yellow flags everywhere. Man, I'm still doing laundry today. Trying to add some bleach to that. Jake Browning goes 14-25, 125 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. I don't think it's a terrible performance, but that's not a performance you need, especially when you don't have the run game. Chase Brown, 10 attempts, 40 yards, averaged 4 yards a carry. His longest run was 6 yards last night. The team went 15 rushing attempts, 53 yards on an average 3.5. Let me put it this perspective. Jamar Chase, 8 targets, 5 receptions, 23 yards. His longest was 10 yards. T. Higgins had a better night with 3 receptions, 32 yards. His longest was 19. Hell, even Chase Brown, our running back, had 3 receptions for 31 yards. Longest more than Jamar Chase, 12 yards. Chase Brown, did we sign you up to be a running back or did we sign you up to be a receiver? This is unacceptable. I was yelling at myself. I did a lot of yelling last night to myself because I didn't want to come on here and just yell. But I'm ready to just fumigate. When you just look back on these numbers, Bo Nix, he goes 29 for 42, 326, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Bluetooth
you made him look like an MVP. You bring them back to 500 football. You put them in the contingency for the wild card, for a wild, I'm going to say wild card, but you put them back into the division because the Chargers lost on Sunday. I mean, a pathetic performance. And, this is what I'm afeared of. This is what I am afraid of. I don't care if we're home or away. The matter of the fact is that we have the Lions, who won Sunday, by the way. Lions won 34-10 against the Browns. And we have the Packers, who tied with the Dallas Cowboys the week after. And I don't care what ball club you're going against. I don't care what the scores are, what their record is. The Lions and the Packers are dangerous. They're aggressive. And if we're not ready to play against them here, they're going to trample all over us. It looked, and I'm going to agree with news people. ABC News said it great after the game, and I got to agree with them. They gave up. They didn't show up. Like everyone went home, and I get it. We're bummed because Joe
Bluetooth
Burrow is
disconnected.
not on that field. But guess what?
Bluetooth
He has
connected.
3 months down the road. With or with, we can't drag the next 3 months to wait, because and feel sorry for ourselves because Joe Burrow got a turf toe. We have a great run in the first drive, hell, even in the first quarter, and it's a competitive game. And next thing you know, we're out of it. We're checked out. We're throwing our hands up. Penalties galore. Let's go put our high school football team out there. They'll do a better job than our Bengals right now. I'm livid. I'm upset. I don't know what to really explain for.
Bluetooth connected.
NFC North. We had that Dublin, Ireland game, Minnesota, Pittsburgh. Look, Pittsburgh picked up the win. They have a 3-1 record. They hold the first place in the division. All we're doing is feeding the momentum. And if we can't turn around, we might as well be last. The only reason why we're 2-2 and we're in second place is because we blocked a field goal, because Browns couldn't kick a field goal in week 1. And Joe Burrow set us up for success before going out.
Bluetooth disconnected. Bluetooth
it feels
connected.
like anything that we have left on the season is away from us because of this situation. And to me, it only looks like it's going to get worse from here. The Lions, 42-10 over the Browns. The Browns are 1-3. They're 0-2 in the division. The Ravens lost to the Chiefs, which I thought it was an interesting game. Until injuries galore happen. I mean, Lamar Jackson, he's questionable for week 5 against Houston with the hamstring injury. Patrick Ricard, questionable for week 5 with the calf injury.
Disconnected.
Marlon Humphrey, doubtful because of calf injury. They only lost by 17 points, but they put up 20 points. Good games through and through. They're 1-3. That is only, depending on Lamar Jackson's status heading forward right now, it's probably going to only be the only reason that it keeps us in this division right now. But at the rate I'm seeing it going, the Steelers are going to run away. They have a bye week, by the way. Coming up here this week, Thursday Night Football, the 49ers and the Rams. Sunday night, the Patriots and the Bills. And Monday night is the Chiefs and the Jaguars.
Bluetooth disconnected.
Cleveland heads out to London to take on the Vikings. They're actually the home team. Our game is at 4:25 between the Lions and the Bengals. The Houston Texans and the Ravens are at 1 o'clock. So you can check out get up at 9 o'clock, watch the Clevelands lose, watch the Ravens lose, and hopefully watch our Bengals turn around and enjoy the Steelers being off for a week. But man, I can't tell you. I don't know how bad it could honestly get. And this is the crucial time because we have 3 weeks. We have the Lions, we have the Packers on the road. Then we come home. I think we'll come home. If not, we got the Steelers still for the next 3 weeks. I would love to be at least 5-4. And I don't even know if we're going to do that. All right. Beginning that new trend, going to continue it on this week here towards the end of our program. Thank you guys for being patient. I'm going to give you my top 10 teams from week number 4. Coming in at number 10, I got to give a shout out to the Houston Texans. All right. Shutout win over the Titans. I know it's not really much, but they give them a little bit of momentum in their division. It gives them momentum heading into their next week. And guess where their next week game is at? It's in Baltimore. So you're going to play against either a absent Lamar Jackson or a banged up Lamar Jackson. You probably don't have Patrick Ricard or Marlon Humphrey. So by all means, momentum can prevail. And so a 1-3 Titans, very impressive. Shutting out, putting up your first victory and shutting out your opponent is also pretty incredible. Miami Dolphins pick up their first victory of the year. Tyreek Hill is out for an injury. Tua remains 6-0 against the Jets. And look, I get it. I don't know how far this, I can't really exclaim that Tyreek Hill makes or breaks this organization. But Tua, I mean, maybe this is the win that they need, because it looks like Buffalo is going to run away with it. At number 7, Denver Broncos. They go back to 2-2. Lights out game for the against the Bengals. 513 total yards. 513, knock on wood here. Could be 4-0 despite the field goal losses early on in the season. Listen, you're helping. Every time we let another team win, we help. Cowboys.
Bluetooth disconnected.
Bluetooth
Listen. Connected.
This was supposed to be that comeback game for Micah Parson. You go back to AT&T. You tell out, Jerry Jones. Cowboys shut up Michael Parson. Very quiet night. Ends up ending in a tie. So I got the Cowboys at number 7. Number 6 is the Chicago Bears. Mr. Clutch, Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson. I don't know what's working. I don't know what they're doing, what voodoo magic they're pulling, but it's working and they're figuring it out. They're 2-2 at number 6. My number 5 team is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Hey, you lost. I get that. You face a good team as the Eagles. We knew this was going to be a true test for Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield. Don't take this with with a grain of salt, but this kind of just helps. Lets you know for Tampa Bay, this is where we're at. This is what we need to work on. This is how we could get better. Listen, Philadelphia is that stepping stone. They are the NFC team to be. And we knew that Tampa Bay was not there, although they had their chance out on Sunday and they failed. So Tampa Bay, still hold your head up high, number 5. Jaguars, 3-1, beating the 49ers. Simple
Bluetooth
football.
Disconnected.
I think that's what helps win games. And maybe that's what the Bengals need to do, right? Back to fundamentals, defense, ground game, have it completion. Kansas City Chiefs, look, a win's a win. I like the Ravens game. Does it hurt the Ravens to lose? No. What I question the Ravens now is the injury status. A lot of people got injured in Sunday's afternoon game against the Chiefs. And so it's how quick and how well can they recover. When it comes down to the Kansas City, I feel like they needed this win a little bit more.
Bluetooth
They need to put some belief back into their organization that they have a good defense, that they can still prevail with their poor performance offense. So this win for the Chiefs was a little bit more. Yeah, I thought the Ravens were a completed team. Sure, if the injuries did not occur the way they did, maybe they would have completed the game. But Kansas City comes in. All right, Philly comes in at number 2 on that list. Undefeated still standing tall. Man, there's nothing that you don't like about the Eagles. A complete team there. Coming in at number 1, man, listen, despite they're 3-1, Steelers are number 1. In my books, I was watching the morning game.
Bluetooth connected.
And for me, I was just enjoying watching Aaron Rodgers and Mike Tomlin. Obviously they have a good defense. The run game, I think they need to establish a little bit more. But I was enjoying to watch Aaron Rodgers. You don't have to be a Steelers fan. Look, Aaron Rodgers is a future Hall of Famer. I will like him to finish off his career better than Brett Favre. No disrespect to Brett. But I don't need him to win a Super Bowl. I just want him to have some sort of success. And if that could happen, then I think, let's enjoy it. He's up there at this mid-40s age where nothing's getting easier. Mike Tomlin's right there with him in a sense of, hey, we may be we may be retiring here in upcoming years. Let's have fun with it. Let's continue the success while the success lasts. So I got the Steelers at number 1. I don't think it's time. I don't think we need to fire Zach Taylor. I think we need to fire our offense coordinator. I think we need to bring back Lou as our defensive coordinator. Okay. But I don't think we need to fire Zach Taylor. I think
Bluetooth.
I don't know what it is with our trade with we're 4 weeks into it. How do we get better? I think we need to get better and find a running back that can establish the run game. we need to. I will call out and bring in a free agent quarterback, in my opinion, and I would focus offensively because if I'm Jamar Chase, I'm pissed. I understand it. I'm working with Jake Browning, but I'm pissed. Missed opportunities. You got to, missed availabilities out of the pocket.
Bluetooth
I don't see
disconnected.
him. I don't see
Bluetooth
Jake Browning
connected.
getting better than what he is now. And if this is what he is now, I'm sorry, we're not going to win another game this year. Does a guy on the free agent market better your chances, depending who he is? And we could talk more about that Thursday. But that is all the time we had for you. I know it's unbearable, but we have some exciting stuff. Playoffs are underway. Who do you guys think will win? I want to hear your comments down below in our chat. If you guys are watching us on our YouTube channel, please sure to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. I want to thank everyone for downloading and listening to us on our audio platforms, whether that's Spotify,
Bluetooth
Pandora, iHeartRadio, wherever you
Bluetooth
guys are
connected.
listening from. Thank you. And without you guys, none of this is possible. We will be back on Thursday for another episode as we will predict week 5, as we will give you updates of the Wildcard series, getting you guys ready for weekend matchups, and so much more. So with that being said, that's all the time I have. Thank you guys for tuning in, and you guys enjoy the rest of your day.